Hi, everyone, and welcome to today's live. Good to see you all joining, whether you're watching this live or replay. I'm excited today. We're going to be actually meeting with Marina Beach, the Soul Alchemist, who was a speaker at the Women Thrive Summit March 2023. Hi, Marina. How are you?
Hey Raymonda, I'm really good, thank you, and thank you for inviting me back. It's been too long. It's only been a few weeks, but it's been too long.
I know. It's like, oh, where the time has gone. It's already been over a month since
Oh my God.
we had the Women Thrive Summit. So if you're joining us, please leave a comment below. Let us know where you're joining from. Hi, Lona. Good to see you. I feel like it's a sisterhood. So today we'll be talking a little bit about what we've learned from the Women Thrive Summit journey, what happens when you're working in a community of other women, female entrepreneurs, other powerhouses. I'm curious to get to know what Marina's journey was and kind of do a little bit of reflection there. Marina was such a superstar in this process. She was super supportive of other women. She was a cheerleader there for other women, and it's really a big part of this year's summit. So I'm excited to kind of recap a little bit. But also, if you don't know, Marina is also the Soul Alchemist as well as the Akashic Records Master. And very recently, she has released the brand new the Oracle cards for Akashic Records, and these cards are absolutely gorgeous. They're so nice, and I'm waiting for to carve out a sacred time to work with these. Marina, welcome. Good to see you back.
Oh, thank you so much. And yeah, oh my God, what a journey! so many,
Yeah.
so many personal transformations through the session. Well, through the whole process, it's been amazing. So, um, I can only first of all just say thank you for inviting me into the process and inviting me into that transformational journey that I ended up going through, because without you inviting me into the event, none of that would have happened. So
So tell me, before you began, when we had our interview, what did you expect, and what was the difference when you actually went on to the journey and you realized, oh, hold on, is it really what I signed up for?
yeah, well, so I've partaken in a few events, and so I kind of had a handle on what I would be delivering, and perhaps what the audience would be like and things like that. But I didn't anticipate, firstly, how much support we would get, how big the event was, and how long the process will be in actually being ready for the event, and everything that we were available to actively get involved in as part of the support that you offered, also additional training and things like that, and being able to go on Facebook Lives and podcasts and all of this. There was so many elements, so many factors that haven't been part of my process in previous events, which really made this a very full and rich experience when it comes to speaking at an event. So that was the first point of difference. And also how much commitment actually that was not expected, but there was a certain minimum, I would say, for you to go onto that stage speaking with other women of a certain caliber, where we were all kind of sharing all of these different amazing things to support the people that showed up for the event. If you were to sit comfortably with those other women, then you were only going to, you would have to give that commitment. If you didn't, then you'd be doing yourself a disservice in actually being part of being in the process. And also you would miss out on the opportunity of all the additional support and training that was part of the process.
Yeah. Oh, so nice to hear that. And you certainly fully participated. I loved how, as we were pairing up people into different groups, you had your group that I think you were leading, right? Were you a leader in a group?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was. I kind of put myself forward, and everybody was like, "Yeah, yeah, you do it," and I'm like, "Oh, okay." I was just. I thought everybody put the name in. They were like, "No, no, you go ahead." I'm like, "Okay then."
Yeah, and how diligently you took that role. You would show up on weekly meetings, take the notes, support other
Mhm.
people. That was really, really beautiful. Now, I want to ask you, what do you feel like were your inner transformations in the process and in this whole learning journey for you?
Mm. Um, I think I showed myself at a level of commitment that I didn't realize that I could have to a process because um, I think, at times get bored and drop out of stuff. So I know that whatever was driving me for my level of commitment, um, I knew it was important at a soul level. I knew that there was importance here, and that probably came through the few days before the actual event and the week of the event, where I was um, working through my resistance of actually sitting down and kind of really understanding my journey again, my why and my transformation, and how I ended up, stepping into the Akashic records and what was going on for me before then, my story. And it was only going through that process again that I realized, going deeper into that I had a real fear around asking for support, which got highlighted in the process because everybody was so supportive that it was easy to ask for support. But I realized in my kind of few years before my kind of like my epiphany with the Akashic records, that I had a psychological addiction to alcohol, and I realized that I didn't ask for support through that. I was muddling through, hoping that it was going to go away. Didn't want to talk to anybody about it because of the shame that I felt that I could not work through this myself. It was my problem. It was, it was my habits of drinking that got me into this, so I needed to get myself out. So there was no way that I was going to ask for support. And it was only kind of looking through that I also realized from that shame that I hadn't forgiven myself for being an addict, not really heavily into the alcohol, physical drinking, although I did start drinking from a very early age, but it was the psychological addiction. And I hadn't forgiven myself for stringing out that process for so long, when I could have just said, I need some help here, and kind of go and put my big girl pants on and just kind of own up that I had had a problem. And I hadn't forgiven myself for drawing out that process. So that came in the few days beforehand when I was writing my story. I went deeper with that and realized, oh my God, I've not even forgiven myself for putting myself through that, and just allowing support in, allowing myself to say, I need help. And so that also got highlighted when we were in the kind of in the groups, and on our particular little group of six beautiful women, that we were all high-fiving. We were kind of like, you've totally got this. And it was just like, oh my God, I am so surrounded by support. And this is such a beautiful space that Raymonda has created and brought these women together, that I do believe that in that process, that any comparinitis and sister wounds that we have, that's a real buzzword at the moment, that they were all, they were released as well, because it just showed, in terms of the community of women that you brought together, that we can totally have each other's back, and we can go through this process together and really support each other, and see the beauty in each, in everybody that showed up and delivered, and everybody that shared their story and taught. We were just fully holding their hands. We were fully holding them up in that process. And that really got highlighted to me as well. And I had several cries through that
Yeah.
little, few days before, because I was just like, I'm just being now held in the support. And I haven't physically asked for it, but I found myself in this space. And isn't that beautiful? So that was just some of the transformation that came from being in this process.
I can almost feel it. Like
Yeah.
that comfort and confidence, knowing that you're held, knowing that you're supported, especially as you go on to speak on stage, and sometimes can be
Hmm.
a little bit scary.
Yeah.
Again, feeling like, oh, there's some amazing speakers. Am I at the same level or whatever? And just know that actually everyone else is here. It's just to cheer you on and support
Mhm.
you. So beautiful.
It was. It was like we all showed up, and we all showed up, and we were all just all at the same. There was no hierarchy. It was just like we were all there to support each other. So, and that's because you've created that community. You've set that intention of the types of women that are going to be attracted to your energy, and that intention that you've set for the kind of event, which then also ripples out to the people that actually then attend the event and watch, because they're feeling that connection as well. So it was all about deep, beautiful, loving, supportive connections. That's what you've created, this network of beautiful connection.
Mm. And I really feel that women who gave feedback after the summit, they said you could sense the
Mm.
sisterhood. You can sense the level of support, the love, the relationships that's been built prior, and that made a real difference. And for myself, I was quite intentional. When people come into my world, it doesn't matter whether they are one of my team members who are coming in, whether they're junior interns or senior people or speakers who have, years and years and success and experience of those just starting out. My intention that we're all coming in with our own unique gifts. We all come with our own magic. We don't come here and, oh, I am the leader and you have to listen to me. I'm intentionally saying we all here to co-create. We all got something magical to bring. So because there is already naturally, as we come into these spaces, the comparison, the inequality that's been going on for years, right? And if
Mm.
we build any hierarchy in any capacity in a community or this kind of environment, then people will try to find their places where they fit in the puzzle. But if you don't create that structure, we're all equal. We're
Hmm.
all just at the same playing field, but we know the mission.
Yeah.
So it doesn't create the opportunity for that to even happen, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and it didn't, it didn't. And I think even for women that were part of the event that couldn't fully engage as much as they wanted to because of whatever life was happening, there was still this kind of like, well, how can we support you? What do you need? So there was still that kind of like reaching out, and just for the women that were kind of saying, no, I need help. It was right there. It was a beautiful community. It still is a beautiful community, and I'm certainly for my group, we're still in touch. So it's going to continue after the event, because that's the type of connections that you can make.
Yeah.
If you're wanting to find those connections and find those women, they're there. It's sometimes I think we have to maybe get out of our own way and just kind of put the commitment in and the trust. But yeah,
I
yeah.
agree. Lorna said earlier, she's my BFF for life now.
No getting away from Lorna. Not like I want to.
Right. And there was a lot of encouragement to collaborate with each other,
Mm.
do all of those things. And sometimes, sometimes it feels to me like, I hope I'm not putting too much expectation or too much burden on people, time wise and commitment wise and all of that. But then ultimately, I also know it is a bit of fun. It is a journey. It is growth, certainly, growth and development. And especially for those who are wanting to develop, there's a lot of development opportunity in that process. But I feel like really those who do participate, I know you were one of those people who really truly took participation in. By surprise, there are so many gems to collect in the process that you don't even know you're looking for.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what I found. all coming through for me just a few days before, before when I was sitting down and, you know, making that time to really kind of write out what my story was and go back. You know, I'd never done that before with the other events that I've spoken at. And so I knew that I wanted to give it the time. And through that time, I had this, you know, I had more downloads, more epiphanies, which would never have happened. And that was because I was committed to the process. What I didn't realize actually from the event was that how much of a training process it is as well. I hadn't factored in that there was so much training that was within that whole process, which I had no idea. So that was for me is like a bonus. the training that you got. Yeah.
I don't know. I guess to me, it wasn't so intentional, but it came very natural, so to speak, because I want to have you ladies prepared. I want to have you all, you know, show up as experts. And in the process, there were so many questions from other women, like, well, how do I do this? Well, how do I, like, so, okay, well, let's spend some time to also go through some of the learnings that we need to prep.
So that for me is just, it's invaluable. The fact that you get to have the connection, have all of these other outside opportunities that happen, and get the training and speak at the event, and also be able to hear all the other speakers and you know, soak in all of the, you know, that their amazing wisdom. It's huge in terms of value. What you get is just amazing.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And just, I want to touch on when you were delivering your session. Was that experience for you? And seeing the women, the lights light up in the room and virtual room, of course. What was that as an experience for you as a speaker?
Yeah, no, it was amazing. I was a little bit nervous because I think because, you know, we'd spent so long actually in the process that it was kind of like, oh my God, I'm really quite nervous about doing this, even though I delivered, you know, loads of times before. And I think I was nervous because I was talking about my story, and I've never done that before in one of my speeches. But you know, doing the kind of a few of the slides and then doing the journey into the Akashic records, and you know, that's where I feel comfortable. So that for me was amazing, because I know that there was a few people in the event in the room that hadn't been into their Akashic records, or they certainly hadn't been in the Akashic records with me. So I know that there was quite a few people that had some really good shifts by going through that process. I was very conscious of time because I can really run over with time. So I was kind of like keeping my eye on the clock, and I was like, oh my God, I have to get them out of the Akashic records in the time. But I managed it, which was fine. But no, I mean, I loved being in the, you know, in the room and sharing what I could about the Akashic records, and giving people the experience of going into their records as well. So.
How powerful. I've been part of some of your trainings and insights, and hearing you speak about it, the huge transformations. For me, your talk was definitely one that actually for the rest of the day, many people referred back to your talk.
Right, okay. I didn't realize that.
Yeah. So yeah, a couple of people referenced it back with some of the speakers, and it was quite interesting. So I think you left quite an impact on a lot of people. Sometimes we don't realize, you know, the impact that we make through our stories, through speaking, through sharing our knowledge, stepping to our purpose and our power. We just sometimes don't realize.
No, I know, and I know that you mentioned a story about hearing my story in another room somewhere else.
Yeah.
Just, oh my gosh, you know. Yeah.
I remember you've delivered. You've done a podcast with Kristen.
Yes, that's right. Yeah. Yes.
And that was like in November, and this was February, and I was making dinner, and I was in a room in her training, and I was listening, and then at the end of the session, it was just like kind of free space for us to talk. And then someone reciting your story, and I'm like, I know this story. And she was talking about the Akashic records and how she remembers. And that's like what 3 months down the line, right?
Yeah,
That's
so
not
that's
a long
just,
time.
yeah,
So that
yeah.
was very cool to hear that in a completely different domain that's got nothing to do with the summit even.
I
Well, it
know.
does, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, yeah,
Wasn't
indirectly.
about the summit anyway.
Mm.
Yeah. So, what would you say to someone wanting to go on a speaker journey, whether on the Women Thrive Summit or just in general?
I would say do it because you're going to go through a personal transformational journey by doing it, and working through any resistance that you have about perhaps speaking in front of an audience, maybe sharing a little bit about your story or your beliefs or whatever it might be. It's going to push you to that next level. It's also going to help heal some things that maybe you're avoiding in looking at. And doing this type of work is a very practical way of actually activating healing, because you're taking action on it and you're kind of facing your fears, and you're moving through the fears. You're not having the fear hold you back. You're not giving your power to the fear any longer. What you're doing is you're reclaiming. And even though it feels uncomfortable, it doesn't matter, because you're in a community of women that are going to hold your hand. They're going to support you. So if you've got fear of speaking, or really wanting to kind of elevate your authority, then speaking at these types of events, and in particular in Raymonda's event, it's going to be the best platform, and it's going to be the best environment to face your fears and do it anyway. Yeah.
And at the end, I said to the speakers, was we had our calls, I said, honor your story, honor your story, value your story, choose the audience to which you choose to share your story in. And it was quite interesting that you said you have never quite shared a story like this, and you received your own transformation healing in doing so. And that for me is special, and that's what I strive to do: create a safe, supportive, and special space and environment to create an audience who will receive your story at the stage that's worthy of you to do that sort of work, to share your story in such a way where it's acceptable and normal. Because let's face it, it's not an everyday thing that you'll go out and share in just in any environment. That's why you got to honor your story and who are the audience that are there to receive it.
Absolutely. Yeah, and feeling safe in doing that. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Oh, thank you, Marina. This has been beautiful. How can people get in touch with you, or how can you support anyone?
Okay, so I'm Marina the Soul Alchemist. So that's what I am on all my socials. So YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. And my website is marinabeach.co.uk. And if you want to reach out, we can do one-to-one, we can do group, you can get my oracle cards. It's all Akashic connected. So it's whatever you feel you need support with, we can have a little chat and I can guide you from that point. So yeah, if you're stuck with your karma and you're just not having the breakthroughs that you really desire, and you're in a repeat cycle of patterning or behavior or limiting beliefs, then there will be some karmic blocks that are not supporting you. So yeah, reach out and we'll have a chat.
Beautiful. And if you have not got the Akashic Oracle cards, please get your copy because they're absolutely gorgeous. And next Friday, Marina is doing a special workshop especially for these beautiful cards. So very excited about that. We saw it being born in the process of the journey.
Yeah.
Celebrated it. And yeah, I'm super proud of you for bringing this particular project to life, because I think has such a longevity and just beautiful impact in the world. So I celebrate you.
Thank you. It was certainly something that I birthed for quite a while.
I can imagine. It does seem like it has had a lot of love into it.
Yeah.
Thank you all for watching. If you feel inspired, please feel free to connect with Marina. If you would like to catch Marina's talk from the summit or access any other topics from the summit, please feel free to go to womenthrivesummit.com, register there. Or if you're looking to apply as a speaker, there's also a link on that website to put your application forward to be a speaker. Our platform is all about women empowerment and bringing women together to do this incredible work. So your purpose work, your mission work, so we can create a safe space for you to flourish, to shine, to be celebrated. And I'm just so honored and grateful for all the amazing women who have taken part in 2023 Women Thrive Summit. And I can't wait for the 2024 summit, which is going to be happening in March next year, which is going to be incredible. Marina, thank you so much. Appreciate you.
Oh, you're very welcome. Thank you for having me.
See you soon. Bye.
Bye.